Hey guys, I'm here to make this video about the end of our Vote Chess game. Happened like a couple of days ago, and it took like more than 8 months, and we had like more than 10,000 people joining, which was very exciting. And I made a couple of videos mostly about the opening like last year, and until I moved 20 or so. And there's gonna be a link in the description below the video about this video, so if you want to check my thoughts during the game, especially about the opening. And then we're gonna play over the game we're gonna play through the game now. And of course there's a big difference that now I can move the pieces. We get it here because before actually I couldn't. I was just showing my ideas, but now we can jump to the analysis board. Otherwise it wouldn't let me on chess.com because it would suspect I was like cheating using a computer. So whenever I opened the analysis board on the exact same Vote Chess game, it wouldn't allow me. So now we can move freely. And of course after the game I checked like other games that had been played in similar positions, and also analyzed some positions with the computer. But I don't think that's very helpful for like this educational video, that I'm just trying to show my ideas and what I normally think during a game, or strategical positional ideas you should take account of during the game mostly. Okay, so as we talked already, we had the Spanish opening, or Rey Lopez, if you will, and I played this d3 variation. Sorry, I played in the next move. Castle, bishop e7, now d3. Yes, there's a difference here. I think I mentioned it before, but I just want to quickly briefly make some comments here about the opening as well, in case you hadn't seen the first videos. So normally I don't want to play d3 here because that would allow black to play d6 for example, and play with g6 and bishop g7, which is a setup normally I wouldn't want to allow. I think it's better for black than to have the bishop on e7. And also it allows like d3 allows bishop c5 too. That is, I also think this is more healthy for black, instead of having the bishop on e7, which is my whole idea. I wait for the bishop to come to e7, and then only I play d3. The problem about the negative point of castle is that it allows the open variation with knight d4, which is analyzed nowadays and is very common too. And then d4, b5, and this is the main line, which is very complicated. But okay, I played castle kingside, and then after bishop e7, now d3, for the reasons I mentioned before. Now the bishop is already on e7. To b5. Now I want to take the pawn on e5, of course. So some action is needed here to defend the pawn. So b5, bishop b3, castle, and now I played a4 right away. Now bishop b7, rook e1, kind of a flexible move. I don't want to define yet if I want to play like knight c3 or knight d2. Depends on how black plays. This is a possible idea too, to attack the b5 pawn. And then in case of b4, I can play knight d5. And in case of exchange, there's pawn takes, or even bishop takes d5 is good. But I can eventually take the bishop pair on e7. And I think that's interesting for white. Yes, it's a possible idea. But if knight c3 now, I thought black could play something like this. I don't know if it's possible right now because this pawn is hanging, but there's a similar variation that black sacrifices the b5 pawn to ruin white's structure, I mean, on the queen side. Probably it's not right now because the e5 pawn is hanging. Well, you can see it's much better when you can move the pieces to analyze the game. So okay, maybe knight c3 is possible. I don't know, it's a possibility too. But I wanted to play rook e1 first. Just I don't want any d5 moves happening, which of course knight c3 also defends, but rook e1 is pretty useful in almost all these positions. So d6 was played, and now I chose knight d2. Now that line I just showed is possible, I think. Knight a5. because if take, yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. Then ab5, and black has a good positional compensation, I guess. Like, I don't know, move like queen a5 maybe, something like this. And white's a pawn up, and white's solid, but at some point this b pawn, b2, b3 pawns could be like a weakness, serious weakness for white. And the position is kind of more like has an open, the position is open, let's say, so the bishop pair could be strong. The bishop on e7 for now is passive, but okay, it could come into play at some point. So I play knight d2, which is more standard. Now knight a5, bishop a2, and c5. Now of course knight a5 is typical to get a better control of the center. Okay, before this black had like many ways to develop the pieces. This was the way you chose, and it's perfectly fine too. Even before is fine here at some point here. It's just normal. And then I would play a5 and try to hit this pawn at some point. And also a5 is useful because it stops knight a5 from coming. So in case of b4, at any point I would play a5 probably. And then bishop knight d2, eventually bishop c4, trying to attack the a6 pawn. But okay, bishop b7, that was a different variation. Now knight a5 happened. Bishop a2, c5, and now knight f1. Now it's possible to play c3 first. I don't remember exactly the differences, but that was what I chose. So knight f1. And here I checked, after the game I checked, and actually I had played this game before, as I mentioned in one of the videos. I wasn't so sure if it was this position. My opponent also played b4. This move is actually interesting. During the game and even in the video I mentioned it was supposed to be bad because at some point white will take this pawn back, but eventually this is possible, I guess. And on the description of the video I'm gonna put the link to like brief analysis of the game, mostly the ones I'm showing now, and also some like game references if you wanna investigate the game deeper. There's some games here that I think knight e3 comes, and I'm not sure if bishop c6 or just g6 to defend knight f5, and then bishop c6 defending the a-pawn, the a4 pawn. And okay, of course white has a good structure, but black plays this apparently. It's possible, because it's surprising, because it's conceptually it should be a mistake, but modern chess like this nowadays, there's a lot of concrete ideas, mostly based on the computer analysis. Before is more natural. And then I played c3 right away. B takes to 3 is important, otherwise I can take on b4 and try to play d4 quickly. But now I think rook b8 is a small inaccuracy, I think. And there is a game Adams-Kamsky, which I'm going to put in the analysis if you want to check, as I said, that goes c4. This is a very critical moment. I don't know if I mentioned this on the video, because I can take the pawn because e4 is hanging. I mean, I can, but it's strategically it should be a mistake. I mean, okay, white gets some entrances on d5, on f5, but looks dubious. Actually, now I'm sorry, it's just bad because c3 is hanging. But after c4, white has to be somewhat careful. So knight g3 is playable. It's played here normally. And cd3, there are two games here actually. One from Adams, I think the other one from Zvidler. Now knight f5 is coming, and g6 is possible. I'm not sure if it's now, because now it looks way scary, because there's some stuff happening here. Knight g5. Okay, unless d5 works here, because this is almost mate on f7. So maybe d5, and after take here, I don't know what's going on. e5 is hanging, but white is weirdly coordinated. And I don't know, like something like this should be fine for black, because c3 is hanging too, g5 knight is under attack at some point, and the knight's coming to, I don't know, somewhere here. It's complicated. But knight g3, okay, sorry, take, and now bishop c8 was the move that Kamsky played, which is very sound and logical. Just stops knight f5, and also the bishop may come to e6 at some point, and then g6 makes sense because there's a better way to guard f7 actually. Okay, that's not entirely true. But also the rook can come to b8 to play. So, and in case of knight f5, I just take, and there's a fork happening here on e4. Otherwise, positionally, this would be good for white, I think, because the white squares are kind of under control, but d4 is just good for black. And Adams played rook b1, I don't know, bishop a3 I think was played. Yeah, bishop a3. Okay, now g6 was the move, that's right. I'm mixing the ideas. Now should be the good move because there's no bishop h6 coming. Yeah. So chess is a lot like that, you know, following what your opponent is doing, and then normally you can change your like small plans. Like g6 normally is dangerous because of that bishop h6, but now it works pretty well, I guess. But okay, this would be a different game. So rook b8 was played, which I think is slightly worse already because now I can control these squares pretty nicely. And bishop c8 was played, which I think was good because the rook starts to play and the bishop is also covering f5. Rook b1. This was, I remember when I make one of the videos, this was the moment I thought for a long time because it was hard to find a move here. I didn't want to play rook b1 to put my bishop in a worse place here on b1, but in the other hand, I wasn't finding a way to improve my position. Like d4 is not really happening because of e4, and knight c4, I thought, I don't remember actually, I mentioned this in the video, but I don't remember now. Maybe just take and bishop e6, I don't know, or bishop e6 right away. I thought it was just helping white, helping black, I mean. I thought about this too, knight d2 and bring it to c4 to like get a grip of these squares and eventually dream about f4 at some point, but it looks weird. Now the rook on e1 doesn't make much sense. But I thought I needed to stop this activity on the queen side. So rook b1, exchange the rooks, bishop e6, which makes a lot of sense. Now you get the good diagonal for the bishop. And in case of knight g5, then just bishop b3. So this nice invasion here. I have to play bishop c2, and that exchange just helps black, I guess. So bishop c2 was played. Queen b6 was good. Now d4, and maybe queen c7, so you can guard e5 and like d4 take and rook b8, rook c8 or something. And I mean white's better because I get to play d4 nicely, but the many pieces being exchanged, and black has many good prospects on the queen side as well. I mean a6 is somewhat weak, but it's hard to tackle this pawn. There are massive exchanges going on at some point. Like this could happen. Bishop a3 maybe, I don't know. But this was another way to play. Queen b6, I think here, because the problem of the position that I saw some people commenting on that, like when did you go wrong? I think that was the first moment before c4 stuff, when I played rook b8 earlier. And here after cd, somehow I think black needs to keep this structure, but now it's kind of hard because e5 is hanging. I remember to have analyzed something like this with the computer after the game, but I don't remember now what's the reasoning for that, because this is simply pawn hanging. But maybe something on c2, but white's very solid here. Bishop b3 maybe. No, but that looks just weird, right? Maybe that's possible, because if you take queen b3, I mean e4 is hanging, and if you exchange, then c1 is hanging too. So I mean white's gonna have this knight f5 stuff, but it's kind of looks loose, you know, the position looks somewhat loose. And also bishop b4 here is a possible move. So in case the rook moves, then knight e4, and if rook e2, then okay, I don't know. Even rook's knight c1 is almost good enough, but still doesn't work. But no, looks weird. But what I mean is, I think black here, I don't have a clear answer what to do, but at this point you have to start worrying about getting this position, which was what happened in the game. This is very awkward for black already, because I get the bishop pair and position gets wide open. d6 pawn is weak. This is possible sometimes, but I mean white's well coordinated here. So I think here black has to find a way to hold these e5 points. That's why queen c7 maybe. And the computer said something about queen b6, d4. I can even put the engine here, but I don't really like to mix in the analysis, like the thought process with computer, because it just drives us like in the wrong direction, I think. Well, let's just check this. Pawn takes, and now let me see why I can't see it. Okay, show. I think it was rook c8. Rook c8, yeah, but there's some trick here probably I'm missing. Pawn takes, 95 for some reason fails. Actually it doesn't, I don't know, bishop b4, but that's really looks superficial for black. Okay, bishop b4, rook f1 and rook d8. And queen e2, so what? Yeah, but that's very magical, like, you know, it's like something doesn't make sense. Why it's just a pawn up, right? Yeah, okay, probably have to put the engine for more time, but that doesn't matter. I mean, it's very dangerous to be analyzing with the computer all the time and forget about the thought process. So what I mean is, strategically, black has to keep this e5 point at this e5 pawn at some at any cost, I think. Otherwise, white is just too comfortable and has a good advantage. That's why queen c7 or just this queen b6 with some tactical justification, but here black has to find a way to sacrifice e5, but I don't see it. The computer probably shows something, but you know, that's the important thing about the position. I think that it started to go wrong for black. So after pawn takes, which I think it was a mistake, knight takes, rook c8 you played, but again bishop d7 is just also awkward because I just play knight f5 and I get the bishop pair. Maybe the other knight, I don't know. And I keep an eye on d6 too. So, I mean, if rook e8, I don't know, I have so many good options here. I can even play f3 at some point and stabilize here. But probably bishop a3 if I'm not missing anything. Put some pressure on d6. Looks very good for white. So after rook c8, I think it is even better because I play g3, which is kind of a slow move, but with the open position like this, and I mean, with the bishop pair, I thought I had everything under control. I just wanted to avoid any kind of tactical ideas black may have against my king. So g3 is very useful. I get a white square for my king, and you don't have a white squared bishop, so that's helpful. Maybe bishop a3 was possible, I don't know. But I was happy with g3. Now queen c6, which is logical. Attacking on a4, keeping an eye on a4, but here it's kind of hard to give a good advice for black. I mean, of course, white just has a small advantage, or a small to medium advantage, not clear advantage, I think. But it's hard to find a way to coordinate for black. I mean, the bishop cannot really improve to b6. Looks like slow, and stuff are gonna happen if you move too much. You know, like queen c6, bishop d8, bishop b6 looks, you know, doesn't look right. Improving this knight makes a lot of sense, as you played, but maybe knight c4 now. But then there's another problem because actually I was expecting this. Now I remember. Yes, and bishop b3, rook e4. I think I analyzed this during the game, and I couldn't come to a conclusion here. Looks very good for white, but probably bishop e3, right? And position is wide open, and there are weaknesses around the black king. This should be bad for black. It has to be very bad for black, actually. Even though black may not lose at once, but h7 is somewhat hanging, and the bishop is passive. a6 could be a target, and the white king is like completely safe on g2. And white has all the turns here, has the bishop pair and better structure, and the better pieces as well. So this is also not advisable. So queen c6, I don't know, maybe knight d7, but it's really maybe knight d7. Try to bring the knight somewhere, but it's weird. The position is like the white bishops are like hidden here, but they're gonna start working soon, and it's gonna be difficult for black. But maybe knight d7, because for now the bishops can come into play. I don't know. With queen c6, I played queen d3 and knight b7. Now things got kind of clearer to me because I can play bishop a3, and I'm starting to, you know, bishop b3 coming, e5 coming. So maybe the knight was doing a fine job on a5, controlling some squares here. I don't know. Now knight c5 just loses a pawn, just bad for black. Probably bishop b3 is a threat here. e5 I'm not sure, but maybe. Rook c1 maybe too, rook d1 too, I don't know. So maybe like this knight d7 or so, or something like this, I don't know. It's hard to give advice. I think it's very uncomfortable for black already. Probably because of the weak king, so probably shouldn't be letting knight e6 happen, even though this structure is eventually visually better, but it's not. Actually, it's worse because the king is weak now and d6 is a difficult pawn to defend. So after queen c6, queen d3, knight b7, bishop a3, defending to knight c5, and I take. And if you take with the pawn, I just have e5, right? I didn't remember seeing this during the game. For some reason, I didn't consider d takes e5. I think I thought it was just bad, but now rook d8 maybe, because the idea was to have this not checkmate, but this queen takes h7 idea hanging. Actually, there's c4 too, but okay, let's say rook d8, queen c4. Looks also ugly for black, but then I don't know, knight d5. Maybe it's not that simple. Because I don't know, black's holding on. Bishop e4, he can just take on e3 and simplify position. So, but this e5, I thought it was very bad. Now I don't remember why. Okay, strategically I can just play knight c4 and play solid and prepare some e5 advance, and rook d8, I don't know, queen, have to find like an ideal place for this queen, maybe queen e2. And then at some point I can start pushing e5, f4, f5, and my king is pretty safe here. And the bishop's not doing anything, the pawn is blocked, so maybe knight d7 to try to knight b6, but looks weird too, like the bishop, and gonna play g6, and then I can play h4, h5, the opposite colored bishop with lots of attacking here. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it was a possible try, because this is just almost hopeless, I think, because I'm a pawn up and better structure, and again the king is safe on g2, so the position started to go down here from here, I think. So queen c3, rook e2, check, king g2, and I think there's not much happening because black has just so many problems right now. So rook c5 and bishop b3. Just play through the rest of the game. King f7. Maybe keeping the queen on the center was better. The queen like on a5, but you have to be waiting for death, like at some point bishop, actually c8's hanging too, so maybe try to exchange queens, I don't know. But these endgames this endgame looks much better than the game. So yeah, maybe something like this, maybe, I don't know, queen c6 or so. Because if I exchange bishop b3, king f7, and black's holding on, then the opposite colored bishop is good for black in the endgame because it increases the drawing chances. But maybe I can just go back queen d3, but then queen c3, maybe this was a decent chance. I hadn't realized during the game, but it's possible. Of course, white is much better anyway, and I don't know, I can just exchange here and play rook a1 and try to push my pawn to ace. It should be a straightforward win actually, but I don't know. Maybe black has some dream to setting a fortress here at some point, like knight d7, and I don't know, knight c5. Okay, this is something. Bishop f6, pieces are improving. Rook a6, bishop f6, bishop d4. This is like more healthy for black actually. Healthier for black. So queen c3, rook e2. Yeah, and then probably this was like because at some point you have to make a plan. Have to have a plan. You must have a plan to play. So sometimes I like to have some strategical idea. Sometimes you have some attacking initiative. Here you have to think about defending, not losing the game. And if you think the kings, like if you compare the black king is much worse than white king, so queen exchange should be decent here for black here. So queen c3 I think was kind of there wasn't much of an idea behind this move. King f7, now knight f5. I start to have like some direct attack here. I want to take already on e7. Okay, in d6 actually. So knight e8, queen a7, which is good because now I want to just take on e7 and checkmate soon. So rook c7 and queen d4. This is a good maneuver because I want to exchange queens, and g7 is hanging too. So an exchange is kind of forced, I guess, because if bishop f6, which would almost defend, because if queen a1, then bishop a1, but then they can just play queen knight d6, queen d6, and it's just a hopeless position. I have 2 pawns up and everything is hanging. So, and if rook e7, I even have e5 at the end. The bishop's like totally okay. There's still bishop g5, but this is totally losing for black. Even f4, f5, and white's king is safe here. There's no danger in advancing this pawn. So queen d4 exchange happened, and then this is just totally lost because e6 can't be defended. So bishop f6, knight e6, rook c3, bishop d5, just stabilizing everything, and rook a2 trying to push my pawn. Take, a5, bishop d4, e6, bishop a7, which is decent because the bishop is more active and defends the advance of the pawn. Rook b2. Now I play rook b8 because if I exchange rooks, this could be very well be a draw, you know. Maybe not, but that's a lot to think about because the opposite colored bishop with only bishops, we all know it's like it can be a draw lots of the time. Many times it could just be a draw. So, but I don't know. I didn't want to analyze this possibility, so I play rook b8, trying to activate the rook. And I also have this idea, but it wasn't truly real, to play like bishop b7 and rook a8, because it really doesn't work, right? To try to close your rook, because you could just play rook c2 and rook a2, and besides them, you're just gonna start taking my pawns on f2. So that's not really smart. And here black had you had to be, because now you cannot play this because of a7 right away. That was the trick, because even if you take on f2, you're gonna have to take an a7 at some point, and I just win the piece. But here I wasn't like, okay, the position is winning, but I wasn't 100% sure of what to do. If you like, problem is you don't have like many useful moves, like king f6 maybe. Now you can think about playing rook c2 at some point. And if I play check, this check, and if I exchange the rooks, it's the same situation I mentioned before. Maybe this is winning because I can just, yeah, maybe, but I'm never 100% sure. If you keep the king here, then you're gonna lose easily, because I'm gonna enter with the king at some point and make a pass pawn here. But the problem is you don't need the king there. You can just be watching with the king here, and whenever I start a march with the king and stuff, and your king just waits here. And in case I start to march to the queen side, then you follow me, and I'm not gonna be able to invade here. Probably it's winning because I make a second pass pawn here, like e5. But you can be watching both. Okay, maybe you can't here. But let's say, I don't know, bishop f2. This should be winning, I guess, because at some point I'm gonna invade with the king. I can make like force like weakness there, so you can have to move h6. Then I put my pawn on e6, and I shuffle around with my king. At some point I'm gonna win, I guess. But if I have to go into this, it's a long game already. So it was a chance. It was a possibility to defend. So, but this was the final mistake for sure. Rook e7. That was probably the losing move. Yeah, because position is very, very hopeless already, but there's play. It's not totally hopeless. There's play. I mean, the bishop, opposite colored bishop, there could be some magical defense. I don't know. Probably I'm not gonna exchange the rooks, but it's not that simple to find a plan. Like maybe I can stay here to defend this and start pushing the pawns, trying to open a second front. But my rook is kind of weird too on f5. I don't know. So anyway, rook a7, bishop b7. Now it's deadly lost because you simply can't. I mean, the rook on a7 is totally useless now. So I can just start pushing my pawns and bring my king to whatever the center or the queen side, the king side is. I'm just gonna be playing the rook against the bishop, which, and besides I have 2 pawns up, so it's totally winning. So rook d7, rook h8, h6, h4, rook c7, h5, and I'm just want to play f4 and start entering with my king. So sacrifice on b7, but that's doesn't change anything. I don't have the pass pawn anymore, but I just can force e5 and then finally get to f5, which happened in the game actually. I played king g6 first, and okay, e5 was also, of course, winning easily. Then I played d5, d6, bishop d6, and after king g7, a resign was in order for sure, because I can just sacrifice my rook, take on h6, and I have like 3 passed pawns for nothing. So that's it. Thought it was like an interesting game. I'm gonna be putting, as I said, then this brief analysis that I made here with some like game references and this variation on the description below the video with the link, so you can download in PGN and watch the game and try and investigate deeply if you want. And that's it. Normally my channel here on YouTube has like 99% content in Portuguese, so you're welcome to try to learn Portuguese. And eventually I'm going to be doing something in English. I don't know. It's also if eventually I have the opportunity to do something else, I'll be glad to. And so that's it. I guess good luck to you in your next fold chess game if you have any, and see you around. Thanks.